Welcome back, and we are live here for Heavy Muscle Radio on this May 3rd, 2021 afternoon, and I'm here with the entire crew, John Romano, Lee Priest, and Chris Aceto. Welcome, guys. Lee, I know it's very early in the morning there for you, but it's always good to get a fresh thought.
Yes. Well, I knew as soon as I got up, like John said, I get up and I'm all ready. That I get a text. 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, I should have stayed in bed.
It's funny because Lee, it doesn't matter if got to get up at 2 a.m. to do the show. He's still the first one who's ready to go. You're always early. I love that about you. It's one quality that I really wish I had that I don't have. You know.
Well, I got to make myself look good. It takes a while.
You'd be great in the U.S. military. Hurry up and wait. So you get there first.
Yes.
Yeah, but he would be always mouthing off the officers, and he would be kicked out in 2 minutes. He'd last about 10 minutes longer than Mr. G lasted in the military.
He'd be the one that have "fuck you" tattooed across here. So
I'd have to be the yelling like Gunnery Sergeant Clint Eastwood in Heartbreak Ridge. That'd have to be me.
I just was bringing that up the other day. Actually, I don't even remember what the context of that was, but I brought it up.
Who's a bigger movie than Lee Priest? Lee Priest. He knows every movie and every character and every
him and John Hanson. Yeah, him and John Hanson definitely. But John Hanson watched a lot of movies.
I look like I'm in Varsity Blues right now. Look at me.
I was going to say you do look like Friday Night Lights there. There you go.
The cheerleaders will be coming out in a second.
Yeah, we lost him in 30 seconds.
He's going to look for the snake again.
John had a snake in his backyard. I told him to go find. I was telling these guys. I said, some of the best people don't realize, but reptiles, specifically snakes. Some of these snakes, like that, are very rare. I'm not talking about the venomous ones where you die if you get bit. I'm talking about the non-venomous ones. People collect these things and they breed them, and they're worth. You could sell a snake for $10,000 if it's unique. So let's say you're in John's backyard in North Carolina, for instance, or South Carolina, excuse me, and they find a palmetto corn snake, which is I don't know where Palmetto, South Carolina is, but they found this corn snake there that was white with red, orange dots all over it, and they called it the palmetto corn snake. The thing was going for like $25,000 a piece when they first started breeding this thing, and they named it after where they found it, basically. And it was literally in someone's backyard. It was like someone dropped a lottery ticket out of the sky, for these people. And that's why whenever I see a snake in the backyard and someone calls me and sends me an unusual pictures, I'm like, "Where did you get that?" I think I knocked him off. He got so excited. He's like, "I gotta go get that snake." He disappeared.
John wants to have the Romano Rattler.
There you go. You see, you just named it for him. That's even better. You have to name these things.
There you go.
Did you get so excited, John, about the idea of a rare snake in your backyard that we lost you there?
I had to plug in direct to Ethernet. Otherwise, it was going to be the robot dance.
Oh, Lee actually named the snake for you, John, that you're going to find.
Oh, what's it
called? The Romano Rattler. You can even make t-shirts for that. Chris, is that Steve Neese you have in the back right there?
What's that?
On your staircase, you got Steve Neese in your house. I thought he was dead.
No.
Is he doing this?
Yeah.
And looking down at you under those Coke bottle glasses. Yeah. Did you know that he was a gay wrestler under the name of the Golden Adonis?
I did not know that. Oh my God, really?
The Golden Adonis. And as a joke, to prove it one day,
right?
A friend of, well, somebody certainly that we all know, but I'm not going to mention his name. Called him up to set a date with this to see who would show up, to verify. And it was like he booked a session, and then the guy came to the door, and it was him.
Really? That's funny.
Did this person, not saying any names, then take him to Morton's Steakhouse after?
What a shoulder rub and a shrimp cocktail.
But we don't want to say. Don't say any names.
That was the first time I ever went to Morton's. Some guy took me out later at a show. He took my girlfriend and I out. That guy, I wouldn't go with her. I was too scared.
I I think Morton's is like the place all the gay people go, and then these gay men just bring in big muscular men to show who they're with that night.
They want to see who can outdo the other one. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Did you see, Chris? Did you ever go out to any Morton steakhouses with any big gay guys?
No, I never went. I never got to go to any of those steak dinners that you guys went to.
I only went to one, but no.
Chris only got McDonald's with Jerry Fredericks.
He wouldn't take like you and Laura out to dinner and back in the day and all of that.
We went a couple times. I told you the story about after the Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was about it. No, we went in Long Island once when we went by Twin Labs, and I just remember, of course, the first time you go to eat with who we're talking about, you drop like $3,000, right?
Yeah. You never went. Ted Dixon never took you out to dinner, Chris?
No. Ted just talked my ear off for like 3 hours.
Well, that's why you never got to go to the good steakhouses, Chris. You had Laura with you.
I could have hung out with you, Lee.
You had a cock block, so it was no good. Steve's like, you got a woman with you. Okay, you'll go to Taco Bell.
But Chris, you went to Twin Lab on Long Island, the fact when it was rolling, right?
I went to Twin Lab in its absolute, I think, peak heyday. I'll tell you, it was 1990, and it was right near the airport, right?
Yeah, Smithtown Road.
And I met the Steve Blackman's parents.
Was it a nice office?
Oh, the office was nice, but the warehouse was the most productive warehouse in Long Island.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of big companies with warehouses in Long Island, and it was the first warehouse I'd ever been into that was automated and 4 stories, and the amount of product that they were selling. Incredible. You could have kept Lee under contract for till he's 59 years old, till he was ready to collect security.
This was in the early 90s. They were doing like $200 million a year.
Yes.
Wow. In 1990s money, that's put that into perspective. No other metrics didn't do that much. EAS didn't do that much.
Right.
No, I mean, listen, you guys mostly, but we make fun of Steve Blackman, but Twin Labs was the most dominant supplement company by far, I think, ever in the industry, including what's the company you work for, Lee, up in Canada? Muscle Tech.
I
just can't imagine Muscle Tech actually doing the numbers. And I worked for Muscle Tech, and I went up to Muscle Tech's office, and they had the nice office.
Right.
But in terms of numbers, I can't fathom anyone beating.
Yeah, but Twin Lab, you know why? Because Twin Lab wasn't just a bodybuilding supplement. It really crossed over to the general public. It was a health brand of products too.
Well, Dave, keep in mind too, they were a dominant company in a time when it was hard to break in. You couldn't be like a Species or a J Cut.
There were no small companies as well,
because it took huge amounts of money to become a startup company.
Right.
Well, they were a one product company in the beginning. First of all, Steve Blackman has zero to do with the growth of that company. It was all the father.
I take all that back then, because everything I said.
But the father, David Blackman, was a genius. I mean, they had Cheramino was their first product, and they were doing.
You know what, Dave, John? I swear to God, when I met the father, and I didn't know that the father started the company, I asked him first question: "What was your first product?" And it was that Cherry Amino. It was for animals originally, right?
Right. Wow.
It was like for horses?
Yes, it was for horses.
Yeah, for horses. And they were a one-product company, and they were doing millions and millions. Then all of a sudden, an article came out in the New York Times that denounced the protein diets as being unhealthy. And overnight, they went from 150 employees to 7.
Oh, really? It hit them that hard.
Devastating.
Wow.
And the father came back and he said, "We'll never be a one product company again." And he built it. I mean, Steve designed some products and, did a lot of the, remember that you went in there and there was the conference room and Bleckman had the conference table was covered with, files and studies and yellow pads with red ink all over the place. And, a new study. But Twin had they built their company on ripped fuel. Remember that when ephedrine was legal,
right?
And they came out with product after product after product, and they were competing, going head to head with Weider the whole time. Remember, they would give Twin Lab would give a bunch of money to Weider to sponsor the Olympia, and they'd have the big curtain black thing with all the company names on it, and then they'd airbrush Twin Lab.
Oh no!
Well, if you were promoting shows back then, I used to promote some shows, and they would compete, Weider and Twin Lab, so you could get decent money out of, like state sponsorship. You want to have the Massachusetts State Bodybuilding Show. You call up Twin Lab, call up Weider, see who'll give you the most amount of money.
Well, you know what? There wasn't that many shows at the time, so every show was valuable. Now there's so many shows that you can't possibly sponsor them all, and so
people don't sponsor any really.
I remember when I would go to the Junior Nationals. I mean, whoever sponsored that show, that was like a valuable thing to be the sponsor of that show, because these were the upcoming guys that were going to be the new future stars. And, you wanted to showcase your products there and get these guys using them, because if they used them, then other people would use them. And so I remember Champion Nutrition, that was their show, the Junior Nationals.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to his credit then, John, did he? No, he didn't start MD. That's right. He bought it. But
he bought it.
But they did take it to a whole nother level.
Well, yeah, we bought it from York. Well, Hoffman had died. He bought it from York, Florida.
Yeah.
And, it was after Hoffman died. And it was, I will say this, it is the longest running bodybuilding title in the world, is Muscular Development.
Yeah.
It's still being published. Is he still publishing it?
I don't know.
Are they still number one at Barnes and Noble?
I think he's using a mimeograph machine now, but
typewriter.
You know what? It's nostalgic at this point for him. I guess he figures, if he can break even on it at this point, it's just to say, hey, I still got a magazine. I don't know if there's any, advantage to having it at this point, but
it's Jared Wheat's magazine. Basically.
Yeah, I think he finances that whole thing. Yeah. But
as soon as Jared Wheat wakes up and realizes he's throwing money out the window, Bleckman's done.
It's probably a write-off for him anyway. But anyway. I want to talk about what I do want to talk about is I don't know if you saw, Caitlyn Jenner. I still have a problem calling her Caitlyn Jenner.
But she's right though. I mean,
yeah, she wants to run for California state governor, I guess, in this recall, and she's saying that she completely is against biological men or biological males who want to be, who are transgender, competing in women's sports, because she says that they're going to ruin women's sports, which we all know. And it's interesting that a transgender person would come out and make that statement. I think it's a pretty bold statement. It's obviously completely accurate.
Well, she said at least in high school.
Oh, why should it matter? After that, it's just as bad,
Well, we think so, but, we're not wearing those track shoes.
It's funny because I have a book in my bookcase, believe it or not, because I don't throw books out. My father was, an English teacher. He wrote books. He said, you never throw books out. I have a book. That's the cover of the book is that picture right there, Bruce Jenner.
Right.
And Bruce Jenner, when he won the Olympic decathlon, was doing like PR tours. And my father ran the school newspaper at Jamaica High School in Queens. And they went to some kind of press conference. He took all his writers of the newspaper, and they went and I guess Bruce was signing books there, and my father was obviously the ran the school newspaper. So he brought me back a book that was signed by Bruce Jenner, and I have it I saw it the other day in my bookshelf. Ironically, I wonder if it's worth money now that he's not Bruce Jenner anymore.
Probably worth more.
That's what I'm saying.
To say, right?
Yeah, especially Dave, if you can get it signed by Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Isn't it funny that the Republicans, because she's running as a Republican governor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, she's always been a Republican. Yeah.
Explain to me, John, how all the Republicans say, they're anti-Hollywood, and yet Arnold and Trump and Caitlyn Jenner and Ronald Reagan, they run as Republicans, and they have Hollywood.
Well, I think it's Hollywood is anti them, really, more than the other way around. But look, Trump made a lot of money being what was that show he did? The Apprentice. Okay, he made a ton of money doing that. What, for 11 years? It was a long running show. Money's money. So I'm not bemoaning anybody for making money, but the political end of it is that just comes down to social justice in the long run, and that's however you want to define that. So it's Hollywood is pretty much against Republicans, and they're against anything sane, really, at this point. I mean, they are moving so far, extreme, crazy shit, batshit loony.
My point. Can you imagine if, like, Caitlyn Jenner was running as a Democrat, what the Republicans would say, right?
Oh, right, absolutely. They would go haywire nuts. But I think the safest straddle and most sensible one, I think, is to be somewhat socially liberal. I mean, animals and shit shouldn't, factor in, but I mean, socially liberal and fiscally conservative. And then it doesn't matter what party you are, as long as you can be responsible fiscally, run your state, run the government, whatever, in a profitable, efficient, non-corrupt manner, and let people do whatever the hell they want on the street. I think everybody'd be fine. Don't you think?
Yeah, I would say that sounds good on paper.
Dave's just sitting there. I'm not getting. Dave's just like, I'm not.
Dave don't want to talk anything politics because he don't want all the haters. He don't have my hate pills.
Dave is waiting for you to discuss Biden and AOC and Kamala going down to the border.
My father always says, "Don't talk religion, don't talk politics. You'll never get in trouble." So the problem is that each side thinks they're so right in what they say that there should be a middle ground, but there never is.
Yeah, but there's things going on. Like what's going on at the border is atrocious. It's just terrible. And they won't even go. They won't even go look. They won't acknowledge it. I mean, and I don't care what side you're on. That's wrong, period. Yeah. End of story.
The CDC said once you get vaccinated, you don't need the mask. But then Biden's saying, keep wearing the mask. And then he panicked because he couldn't find this mask. It's in your pocket, Joe. It's in your pocket. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh.
It's lucky he can find it.
Yeah. Who's Gina Jones, Lee?
Who?
Gina Jones. Someone wrote, Gina Jones knows a lot of histories about Lee.
I don't know. I read that. I don't know who Gina Jones is. It's from someone with a name. It's from someone with their screen name Huge Lizard. So that says a lot.
Never a double. So what? I mean, what do you think? Let me ask you. I'll go around the horn. I want everyone's opinion. You can give your own opinion. What's going to happen with this whole transgender sports thing? I just think it's so stupid that we're even that they're making statements where they're allowing biological boys to compete, with the girls. I don't even think there's anything to even debate here. It's like completely moronic as far as I'm concerned. I don't get it. I don't know who actually sides with the other side. I mean, what's going on here, Chris?
What is going on here? Or
yeah, even Caitlyn Jenner said she was an athlete.
What's going on? I mean, something's going on here. It looks like everyone's talking about it.
Why would they go there? They know that there's no possible conceivable way for this to be that the biological boys will not dominate women's sports, especially in junior high and high school.
We have still economy recovering, right? We still have COVID. We still have like second and third waves. We're not near herd immunity. India's falling apart. Yeah. I mean, you could go, we just pulled out of Afghanistan, but the topic you're going to talk about will be the dominant topic in this on TV shows in the next full year. And it will swallow up, people's oxygen because it's like this. It's like, although it's like this trivial topic, it's still important. But I agree with you. It's like, I don't understand how somebody who is born a boy grows up a boy, and then suddenly, transitions to becoming a female, doesn't have some type of athletic advantage in tennis, for example, over other females. There's got to be some advantage. You know what, Dave?
It's not a sum, it's a huge advantage.
Think of it this way. If some high school girl took 1 Anavar a week and played on the tennis team, they would ban her for
life.
Ever. They would say she took 2 milligrams of a hormone that's derived from the male hormone, and she has some type of advantage. And everyone would say, absolutely, got to get rid of her. What will the kids think?
Yeah.
It's terrible. Huge
steroids, taking steroids, right?
Yes. So, but, someone could be conceivably, 14, 15 years old, 16 years old, and then
think about your son.
He shows up as a female.
Think about your son, Chris, how talented they are. Imagine if one of your sons said, "Yeah, I'm going to be a girl now." I mean, they'd be the greatest female athlete in the history of high school sports, probably.
Well, I mean, it's just, it's to me, it doesn't make any sense. I've tried to think of it from both sides of the fence.
Right.
And that's one of them. Like, what if I had a daughter and she was a swimmer, and she gets in high school and she's winning all the junior high, and it's really important to her, and some individual who was a boy just 2 years before is transitioned as a girl, and they're at the state swimming championships. I would be like, wait a minute, isn't there some common sense that this the new girl has some type of advantage over, the girl who's been a girl her whole life?
John Romano, how's this all going to play out, you think?
I think there's 2 parallels in the deal. I think one is the illegitimate, athlete who just sucks so bad at being, a dude who can't get past the top half of his sport, gives up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna identify," because social justice is such that you just have to wake up one day and decide, "Oh, I'm a girl today," and so you can go compete as a girl. And I've seen some of these athletes, and honestly, these people are definitely not in the other group who are literally gender dysmorphic or confused, or however you want to politely put it. So if you are truly gender, have a gender issue and you're an athlete, I can understand at some point the transgender male to female is going to want to compete in their sport, and that's where going to be an issue. But there's another side of it that I think is really polluting the whole issue, and that is just rejects who are intent on getting a medal or a trophy or winning, and just give up competing against men and compete against women because they'll win. And you've certainly seen some of the athletes that have done that, and you can tell these guys aren't trying to be women or anything. They're just trying to rip off a trophy. So
it's like Lee Priest.
What's that?
It's like Lee, who's been
it's like
peddling this for 2 years that he's going to compete as a female.
That's right. What if you're a female in school and you go on male hormones? Should you be able to compete in women's sports because you're a biological female, or is that not right either? How does that work?
You're never going to do. A girl is never going to do enough drugs in as a teenager to be able to compensate for the fact that she wasn't born a dude.
Right.
So you could go ahead. I mean,
where do they go, John? Where do they go? Where do those women that want to be men? Where do they compete?
Sometimes there's just no soup for you.
Yeah.
They go to Men's Physique.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that just because you happen to be interested in a sport, that somebody has to provide a venue for you to compete. Right. There's no guarantee of that. If you can conform to what already exists, great. But if we have to all of a sudden drop what we're doing and create a whole new realm just for you, it's not going to fly.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm waiting for like.
But I'm glad Chris brought up tennis because, as you know, remember Jerome Ferguson that used to compete in bodybuilding? He plays tennis now.
Oh, really?
You might. Yeah, he plays under the name Serena Williams. Have you seen?
that
Come on, she's just.
That's almost as bad as your.
She's just as big as Jerome. Look at Serena; she's massive. She could beat some men. I'd like to see Serena. Remember the old days when they had
Bobby Riggs versus Billie Jean King.
Yeah. I'd like to see Serena play Nadal or somebody just to see.
Yeah.
I reckon
find an older guy, like let her play like John McEnroe or something like that.
Just to see him go off.
He might be too old. How old was Bobby Riggs?
I think it'd be good to.
He was like, I don't know, 61 or something.
He looked like Bob Grushkin when he played.
He looked like a cross between Woody Allen and Bob Grushkin, right?
No, you're right.
He had his tube socks pulled up to his knee.
he actually looked like Billie Jean King a little bit, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's funny.
That wasn't a bad movie, that one.
All right, hold on.
I reckon Serena could hold her own with some of the men.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She put that booty behind. That's the thing through the net.
I bet you've got both sisters.
But it's like John.
Play doubles. They could probably beat some men. I bet you.
But it's like John said. Men going into women's sports is like just men that have failed in their own sport. And I brought it up. I'll bring it up again. It's like failed bodybuilders go into physique.
No, but you know what? There are legit.
But you know what, Lee? Now you could be a failed bodybuilder. I mean, when physique first started, because we didn't really know where it was going, you could be a failed bodybuilder and have more muscle and place really high. But these guys would smoke a lot of, pretty darn good bodybuilders.
Absolutely, no.
Very good bodybuilders. I mean,
I think
you saw the results in Pittsburgh, right, Dave?
Yeah, that's what I was going to. I'm trying to transition to that. I'm having trouble though getting us over to the Pittsburgh Pro.
no pun intended on the transition, but
none taken, Chris.
How come there's no bodybuilders who are trying to compete as female bodybuilders?
Not yet.
I think it's going to happen.
How do we know some females?
They haven't come up with the application yet for it, Dave. How they don't have the pro card. Don't know what to ask on it yet.
The fight, yeah, exactly. They're gonna have to you're not gonna be able to list sex. The funny thing is about that is that in bodybuilding it would be a lot more close because at least the women are taking anabolics too. So it's not like such a great separation between the men and the women. Whereas a woman in high school has very little testosterone in her body, obviously, and if she's going up against a biological male who has testosterone production, even if they're taking blockers, at that point, think about how much testosterone they've been exposed to their whole life up until that point.
Dude, the one anabar is the litmus test. It shuts the whole thing down.
Yes.
Yeah, because they would, if anyone had a daughter and she took one anabar a week, and they found out, they would say, testosterone, some substrate has floated around in that person's body, and it's creating an unfair advantage.
Right.
And we've all been to those after parties, haven't we? And some of those women are getting more testosterone injected and orally than anyone. Just saying.
I'd have Lee's last story on Iron Rage.
Straight from the source. Source.
He knows what he's talking about. All right, let's talk about this Pittsburgh Pro. I'm excited to actually have a contest to discuss. Obviously, Jim Mannion's show was really the first big show of the year. And, it was there was classic physique, there was wellness, there was men's physique. Let's talk about classic physique because that's kind of about as close to bodybuilding as we're going to get. We'll start off with that. Did you look at the results?
Yeah, I did, but put the top three up. Divine one, right?
Divine Wilson, who, if you remember, what was it, like 2 years ago? We had a big thing about him.
That was like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now.
Was it 3 years ago?
Yeah. When he could have easily won whatever show, and I think he chucked his trophy.
Yeah.
Pulled the Craig Titus, huh?
Yeah. All right, let me pull up this picture.
What was that?
There he is. If we would have looked at this when classic physique first started, we would have said, "This is bodybuilding. This is not." I mean, he's put a lot of muscle on, right?
A ton. You know what? He just overpowered that lineup based 100% on muscle. I mean, he's got good shape, good flow, good detail, good lines, all that. But this could easily win. This could win the junior nationals bodybuilding.
I agree. That's what I was going to say. I mean, absolutely, right?
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably do well in the nationals, whatever weight. He's probably not too heavy, right?
No.
And he's so long. I mean, so long trunks, right? Remember the trunks from the 70s? They started.
I'm so glad they got rid of those.
Oh, me too. I mean, isn't it funny how we're at posing trunks? I don't know how it started. It started out with the speedos, and now we're back that we're at posing trunks for classic.
Give it 3 years.
They'll be wearing thongs. I know. I don't know.
No. 3 years.
Yeah.
The level of muscularity that's going to be awarded for the Olympia is going to be like 30% more muscle than there is now on stage.
Come on, seriously?
You think they're going to raise the weight classes?
No, but you'll just see people. It doesn't mean they'll. I mean, Chris Bumstead can still add muscle and make the weight, probably, right?
You're right. No, he's hypermuscular.
I mean, there's other people. Who's the top 3 or 4 from last year all can still add weight and make the class. I'm just saying that the look is going to be 100% homogenous with bodybuilding.
And you think 30%, really?
It's 50% more than 3 years ago.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The guys are 50% better than they have way more muscle than 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, the first year Chris was in the show, he looked like a pipsqueak compared to this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and he looked really good then, but he's just, he looks like he's added, I don't know if he has on the scale, but it looks like he's added 25 pounds of muscle.
Look at Mubdi Favors, who came in second, and obviously not nearly as big as Divine. Good shape, good structure, good conditioning.
Yeah, he looks good.
But I mean, like you said, Divine really blew away that lineup.
Yeah, it was like mass monster compared to this guy, and this guy looks good. It's nothing against him. Just there's a big difference in total level of development.
Yep.
I want to show you one more guy, the third place finisher, who I'm pretty impressed with too.
Yeah, the crazy V taper.
Yeah. Let me pull him up. Let's pull him up here. Okay. This guy's got good potential if he sticks with the division.
Yeah.
Dmitry, I don't want to ruin his last name, but Voratesev. I'm assuming he's Russian. Or maybe Lithuanian. I don't know.
Got an interesting pattern going on there in his front shot. That's cool.
He's got really big lats, wide lats, small waist. Good
but his lats are high.
Yes, but his back is big. So I like guys with I like the tall guys in the classic, and I'll tell you why, because they can add a lot of muscle. Reminds me of almost like you remember Barry DeMay?
Yeah,
back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Barry had a lot of trouble hanging with like the Haney guys because he was tall, but he would be perfect for like classic physique nowadays. I mean,
so
he flowed really well, really well.
Bob Paris would be good in classic.
Yeah.
You think Bob would have been able to make the weight though, Chris?
Yeah, Dave, I prepped him for Montreal when he should have won, and he was 229 the morning of the show.
Really?
229 to 231.
At what was he 6 foot?
Oh my God, he was 6'1", 6 easy. He was 6'1".
Really? Wow.
So he would have made the weight.
Yeah, that would have been interesting if it was around back then, for sure.
How tall was Dennis Newman?
He was 6 foot.
He'd fit.
He never would have made weight.
Yeah, he had too much muscle.
He wouldn't have
made the weight.
He was probably Dennis Newman was probably the greatest potential talent that never
made it,
panned out. And I don't necessarily know if it was from necessarily the leukemia he had, although that sidetracked him. He he had a massive pec tear. A lot of people don't realize, but after he made that comeback.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think he was ever able to train right. And from what he told me, at least, and that really sidetracked him a little bit. Plus, I think, the leukemia obviously makes you gun shy after a while. I know he was using gear again after that, but in the back of your head, you have to say, well, am I killing myself or am I not? If you second guess yourself in bodybuilding and don't give 100% to the process, you don't get 100% out. We know that, So I think he just never his head wasn't in it after that.
You're saying you got to be like the picture of Dorian Gray and sell your soul to the devil, Dave.
No, in other words, if you know what works for you, Lee, and I said to you, all right, you know what? Or you say to yourself, I'm going to have to use half of that amount, or I'm going to have to do put half effort into what I'm doing because I'm nervous that maybe something bad's going to happen to me. You'd never be the best Lee priest you can be,
I did that when Hani gave me a drug program. I said I got to do half of that.
Yeah, but you never really used it to begin with. You didn't need it. You were successful before that.
I looked at the program and said, "How much?"
Lee, you could have just used it. You could have just made 60 days in the month rather than 30. Could have called like June 60 days.
What did Hani want you to take? What was the drug cycle?
I'd have to ask Mike Yablon because he was living with me at the time. There was 8 different drugs, and I was just looking at him going, 8? I'm like, damn it. But I told him I took it, so every time he'd come around, every 3 weeks, he'd come to my house and look at me, goes, oh, that such and such is working. Yeah, I can see it's working good. And I'm like, I'm not even taking it.
Yeah, that's like Bob Grushkin used to hand garbage bags full of stuff to like Chris and Doug Wentz and all those guys, and they wouldn't take it because they were scared. And that was, you guys weren't even using a lot back then. That was a funny thing.
I was watching. I saw Paul Dillett's full interview the other day where he was talking about Chris.
Oh, was he? I didn't hear that. Who did he interview with?
Good or bad?
Yeah.
Better be
good. It was good talk. I don't want to say who it was with. It was with that Dracula interviewer who sits there. Looks like he's sitting on the Starship Enterprise in a chair with his. So, Paul, tell us, what have you done lately? Oh, very good. Very good. I don't want to say the channel, but you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, the one that doesn't like you anyway. Yeah.
You might as well have printed it on the screen.
I swear the chair he's sitting in and the way he's sitting there and his clothes he's got on with the button-up thing that comes like this. I swear he's sitting on the Starship Enterprise, just sitting there waiting for Captain Kirk to come back.
Oh my God, that's funny. All right, let's go back to the Pittsburgh Pro. Obviously, there was no superstar guest posing routines like we normally saw in the past because of COVID. But let's go to men's physique, where this was a really good battle. I'll tell you why. Because Kyron Holden, who won, beat Raymond Edmonds, who was the former Mr. Olympia, obviously, and 2 years ago. So that's a huge victory for him. Chris, can you believe the size of these men's physique guys now? Do you remember when the sport first came out, Mark Anthony was winning the Olympia, and they were like, oh, he's too big. He's got to go to bodybuilding. Now, I think some of these men's physique guys are bigger than the classic physique guys, don't you? Because there's no weight class in them.
100% they are. And I'll tell you another thing. The level of conditioning is past perfect in a lot of these shows. And, I mean, look at this guy, just this stance, to be able to stand like that and look round and full and dense and hard. I mean, he's not even flexing anything really. And he looks, so that level, we talked a little bit earlier. I touched on that classic bodybuilding in 3 years will have 50% more muscle. These guys have 200% more muscle than.
Yeah. I never would have. This would have been the one division I never thought that was going to get this big. I didn't think they were going to allow it.
Well, Dave, you know, it's so funny. It's a division that started off. I mean, it's been growing and growing and growing and growing, but it started off like other divisions, classic. Like, what is the definition of this division? And I mean, the athletes have defined it for themselves. Bigger is better. Harder is better.
Well, the judges define it because the judges are rewarding this. Initially, they were marking down.
What? I mean, how do you mark someone down if they're just because they have shorts on to their knee, but they look absolutely outstanding from the waist up? who are you as a judge, especially if you're coming from bodybuilding, to say, it's too muscular for me.
Right, but I mean, you could make that case with figure too. Why can't the figure girls be bigger if there's better too? I mean, don't you have to have a delineation between?
Because there's a subconscious idea that figure is females, and females aren't trying to get as big as blown out as possible.
They've gotten big though too in that division.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why you watch that division become less popular. It's like female bodybuilding became less popular once you allow or reward hypermuscularity for any division that's a woman.
Yeah,
you have that subconscious idea of like it doesn't square. Like, okay, Linda Murray can put on as much muscle as possible and it still works.
Yeah,
but she's an exception, like an outlier. Other females, they put on, a ton of muscle and it just distorts their physique, or it lacks the appeal. So, but this is, men's division. So,
well, I mean, then you look at a physique. That was Kyron Holden who won. Now you look at Raymond Edmonds, who was an Olympia champ, like I said, 2 years ago. And I mean, how do you even make it distinguishing?
Apples and oranges.
Two guys. It's completely two physiques. This guy's so big now, he looks like Cedric McMillan almost.
Yeah,
right?
You know what? He's got the height.
Yeah.
But this happens to every division. It happened to bikini. It happened to women's physique. It happens everywhere. It starts off over here and then it gets pushed over there until they need it. So they need another division to take up the, where we're off. That's why we're at wellness and pole dancing, and we're just going to keep pushed to the other side so we can stick another division in. So the promoters,
beach body will be the next division, right?
Right. Well, I mean, they have them in clothes. They have them in clothing. They have so many different ways of exploiting a physique contest these days. But they all start here and they all end up with more muscle. The girls, the guys, all of them. So,
do they get judged on their board shorts now?
I don't know.
That's a serious question, by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was serious or not.
Well, they got
not since John Rivers died.
Yeah.
They have different coloured board shorts and different whether it might not match your body or your physique. Some legs could be longer. I just wonder, does Billabong out-judge Quicksilver board shorts or what? I don't know.
That's a good question to ask the person who's going to try to seek sponsorship for this.
There you go. It has to complement their physique. Here's Aaron Banks. Look at this guy. I mean, this is third place. I mean, that's a pretty good top three, if you ask me. That's an Olympia top three.
That's incredible.
See, and out of all those photos, his board shorts really highlight his physique. The yellow with the nice darker skin looks great. See what I mean? See that the board shorts play a part.
And they're tighter.
I'm noticing a lot of these guys have legs.
He's got bigger legs
too. You notice that?
Mm-hmm.
This guy could certainly go to classic physique, I bet you, if he wanted to.
Sure.
Well, I heard, Dave, if they have to do a tiebreaker, they're going to ask the guys to hike up the shorts and lock the legs out to see who's got the better leg.
I don't believe it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Chris, stop being silly.
Would you be surprised if these guys eventually were out there in posing suits, like showing legs eventually at this division, or not?
I don't know if that's going to happen, but it just what won't surprise me is I won't be surprised if prize money goes up drastically, and it should, because if you're having a local event, you know how it is, Dave. You say like, I won the Long Island. Oh, good, Chris. Who'd you beat? I beat 5 heavyweights. Or did you hear, John won the classic, not the classic, the men's physique division of the Long Island? Yeah. How many guys you beat? 70.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the dominant division right now in terms of participation, and for anything to grow, you need participation. It's a
good farm system for the classic and the bodybuilding, right?
For
some guys this will be the last division, the only division they do. But for a lot of guys, they'll move up from. This guy could definitely move up the classic. No, I would encourage him to. Matter of fact,
depends on what his legs look like, but yeah, for sure.
I mean, you can see he's got legs. He's got legs through those spandex. He's got.
Of course, he's got legs. He's standing up. What do you think he's standing on? We can see he's got fucking legs.
He's got legs.
I want to know who started the posing though, where the men have to do this with their hand. Who started this? That's what I want to know.
I heard it was you. I heard you tutoring someone in posing,
Hey, look,
and you gave them that move.
Listen, my father's gay, but he doesn't even do that.
It's the spirit fingers, right?
But it's more feminine than the girls do. Like the girls just go in and do this. The guys sort of do this with the wrist going round and round and round.
I think it's
trying
do
you have to
trying
do
to
two or
hypnotize
three?
the judges is what they're doing.
No, you know who it was? Who was that crazy bikini girl who was an American Gladiator? She every time she got interviewed, it was like she was smoking weed. She was way out there.
That's
You know what I'm talking about? She said she was competing in bikini and said she was practicing a routine. And I'm like, all of this shit.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, didn't she date Lee Thompson?
I think so. Yeah. What was her name? She was a
Ray Hallett.
No. After that, she dated Lee Thompson for a while. I remember.
Yeah, you know who I mean.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't narrow it down. Lee Thompson dated a lot of them in the industry. And when Lee Thompson dated him, their placing seemed to improve. That's funny, that too. just saying.
Lee was too busy disqualifying Cedric McMillan for missing the competitors meeting that wasn't required. Anyway, all right. Let's go to. I'm gonna give you guys a little quiz now. Okay, I'm gonna share this picture. Tell me what this girl won. Okay, which division?
Okay.
Oop. Is that a wrong? Hold on, wrong one. Hold on. Don't look.
Oh, okay. I'm good at this game.
Is this one? Oh, there we go. Okay.
wellness.
What would make you say that?
The size of her ass and littleness of her upper body.
You're right. Angela Borges wins the wellness division. This looks like women's physique to me. I don't know. I can't tell the difference.
It looks like Bikini to me on steroids.
Yeah, with yeah. I don't know.
Looks like the white rhino to me.
If you don't think if this girl hit a few poses that she could win women's physique? Come on.
She's got no upper
She's
body
more.
compared to her lower body.
She's more muscular than some of the wellness I saw in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She's very. I mean, I like the look. Don't get me wrong. I like good legs and ripped legs and small waist.
I like the tattoos.
If Lee wasn't married, he might marry her.
I like that building on the right.
She's blonde. I've learnt one thing in this industry: blonde girls with fake tits and that, all fucking nuts. I'm not stereotyping.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a stereotype?
Okay. Every female fake titties and hair is nuts.
Just violation if I ever heard one.
Yeah, exactly. What about now? Coming in second in this wellness division was Yurishna Ayala, who we saw compete in bikini for years. She never was in shape. Now she's in really good shape. Oh, hold on, I pulled the wrong thing up again. Hold on.
Shoes look good there.
Nice shoe.
Hold on. I always liked her physique a lot. Hold on. There we go.
So he's going from bikini to wellness. Is that like a step up or step down or just changing?
I mean, I like the look of it. I don't know if it warrants its own division, but I do like the look of it. To me, it just looks like a shredded, more hyper muscular. I don't know.
I like
a figure almost.
They look like what's that Centurion on? What's it? The Disney character with the small upper body and the big.
Centaurs, like the body of a horse and the top, yeah. And the upper body of a human, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know, is that Sunsilk or Pantene? I really like the shine in her hair.
She always had good hair. I love her hair. I mean, where does this division go?
Perfect.
If this division starting here, where does it go from here, guys?
Pole dancing.
No, just stop. Where does it? I mean, is it going to get more muscular? Are they going to?
John, be serious.
Are they going to be women's bodybuilders, basically? You know,
they're just going to be these giant asses. You know.
Well, no, they're not.
They're going to go. They're going to go from here.
You know, it's going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be the exact opposite. Exactly. Remember the guys who don't train legs? You know, and it's like the floating torso. It's going to be that upside down. It's going to be like the floating leg and ass. And then
to get that money, to get that big, you obviously have to use some kind of gear, obviously, right? So,
Right.
I mean, will wellness not really be wellness, after a while? I mean,
No, because the money's not that big in wellness. So
well, not
from
yet.
here they're gonna go marry a dentist or an older guy to carry their
stop that.
bags.
Nah,
then they're
that's
gonna
not nice.
then they're gonna get pregnant and we'll never see them again.
That's not nice.
That's where it's going.
The truth,
John,
the truth hurts, Dave. Come on.
Well, Shanique Grant did retire, right, at the age of like 25 years old, right, to go have babies too. So, I mean, that was her choice.
That's cause her husband lost his job. Don't believe a word I'm saying.
No, it's 2 a.m. over there. Just chalk it up as Lee's a little bit.
The blood hasn't gone to my brain yet.
Yeah.
It never
All right,
does.
All right, so here's your next quiz, guys. All right, what division is this?
Okay.
There we go.
Physique.
Blocky.
That's the winner.
Figure. Figure,
That's
Dave.
Maria Diaz. Figure. Yep, that's your winner of figure.
I guessed it.
I thought it was Mike Blonde with a wig on.
Oh, that's not nice.
What's with her waist? Is it the suit or like something looks just really weird?
Yeah, I don't like the color. The suit really.
I think it's a little
tan.
blocky. I think it's a little blocky waist when she's pulled the suit up to give it the illusion of tapering down.
Yeah, I think the waist is a little on the blocky side too. I agree with that.
And she's got no neck.
That's because she's holding her arms up like this. She's a turret. She's a little T-Rex.
My point is, to me, these divisions are starting to blend a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't tell the difference.
Well, she's the exact opposite of the girl you put before. She's got a big, wide upper body and narrow, stringy legs. And the other one has got these giant legs, giant ass, and
I actually like the wellness look better. I got to be honest.
I do too. I'm with you on that one. I'll take wellness over this shit any day.
Here's second place, Christine Stearns.
Shoulders are ridiculous. Wow.
Pretty big delts, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can you differentiate this from women's physique?
The legs.
The legs, what? She's shredded. She's
but they're stringy. They're not. They don't have that nice sweet.
Yeah, they're not that stringy, John.
The posing trunks are getting smaller. What's going on there?
Or they're getting cut higher, or something. I don't know. They all look weird.
Sweet, I know.
I'll show you another picture of her. I think she's got a really good physique, this girl, but
crazy delts. Definitely.
Yeah, she's got good legs. If you wait till you see this version of her. I mean, Chris, how do you differentiate this from women's physique? You know she could hit a double bicep here, and we would be very impressed, especially with that small waist.
Look at that back. Damn.
No, well, I mean,
I would have this girl winning the figure show. I don't know how she came in second, but I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Well, they all blend.
I mean, I think she's got a better structure, and she's shredded, and she's got muscle and balance.
And I bet the judges probably said to her, "Get some breast implants, and you'll do much better." That's what the judges say to him. Sadly, the judges tell him that.
Yep, they do.
No, they tell the guys to get their breasts removed, right? Gyno surgery. So why not tell women to put some breasts in there?
They tell the guys to get under the table.
That's how you know when you're backstage at a board short event. It's the innumerable cases of gyno that you see back there.
Yeah, which is weird because you would think that those guys would be the most self-conscious because pecs and arms are like that's like and abs are their whole physique basically.
You'd think, but if you ever want to go on an expedition to point out the most cases of gyno in any division, go to the board short.
Well, you know what? I think what the reason is because those guys are just starting out, a lot of those guys, and so they don't even know about gyno.
No, it's because they're tapped out. They wanted to be bodybuilders. They couldn't be bodybuilders, so they take more gear than the bodybuilders and get gyno.
They just got to do more gay for pay so they can afford Dr. Blau. That's all. John, don't be like that.
That's funny.
Maybe they just can't afford milk, and they just
they make their own. Sorry. All right, hold on. All right, last but not least, the bikini division. Our good friend Ashley Kaltwasser, the winningest bikini pro out there now. and she just keeps doing it.
What's
People think I can't believe
the
she's
winner?
doing it. She started so young. She's
Dave.
still only in her 20s, I think.
Put a picture up with the wellness winner.
I was just
I think
saying, wow, you're red.
I was
My,
gonna
You know what?
say,
Though?
yeah.
Her legs are not
Physique.
even close to the wellness.
well, she's a smaller wellness, really, in the lower end.
Yeah,
wellness look much better.
Well, because we like muscle, that's why I think.
Get her squatting 315 for reps, and she could do wellness easy.
I'll tell you one thing though. Ashley's got the greatest. If you ever watch her on social media, like her Instagram, she does the craziest stuff. She does like acrobatic stuff and gymnastic stuff. She's got a really good personality. Like when she first hit the scene, I don't remember, she was winning like Bikini Olympia. Like I think she won 3 times in a row. And I really was not impressed with her physique. She didn't have good conditioning. She just really had just started working out. And I wasn't really a huge fan of hers. She got such a personality and her physique had really developed so well. She's someone who like grew into this role. And it's funny, now she's not the Olympia champion. She probably should be now. But I'm telling you, you watch her social media, the views that she gets, because she does entertaining stuff on there. I actually really like her channel. You should check it out if you want to. She got a great personality.
Dave always says he's too busy to read stuff and watch stuff, but he watches hers.
Yeah, definitely. It pops up on my.
Do you ever watch my channel, Dave? I'm entertaining.
Only when you send me links to stuff, I watch it.
I don't have a channel anyway, so. Oh yes, I do. I just started.
I've noticed that you've been actually posting a lot of stuff on your social media lately, like massive amounts of posts every day. What's going on over there? You're selling like training programs, and
I'll tell you why, Dave. I'm bored.
Is that what it is?
Too much time on my hands.
I mean, it's good. I mean, I think you've really built your brand. I mean, because I think a lot of people want to see stuff from you, and
What brand, Dave? I'm just a dickhead on social media. I got no brand. At all. But I got shirts coming out with "I'm a see you" whatever on the shirt. That's going to be a big seller.
Rich keeps telling me I got to build my social media better, but I just don't have the.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting, John.
Yeah, I don't have. What am I going to post on Instagram? Pictures of me? What? I mean, I don't.
Look at all these posts. Look at all these posts Lee has up recently. He's like,
look at the bicep one. You can learn how to do biceps.
I'm saying you have a lot of good information.
Look at Lee there at the table eating all that food. Look at that one. Look at the gun on.
I like that one. I didn't even know you had a sister. I didn't know Lee had a sister until he posted this picture. He's got a fifth.
That's because Dave shows so much interest in me.
I know.
Oh my God.
A lot of questions. You don't offer a lot of information. I have to extract everything from you that you tell us.
What do you mean I don't offer information? I talk about pulling tampons out of my teeth and everything, and I don't give up information.
I had to
that's true. Lee is an
The only reason he offered that was because Valentino told the story about getting his gum stuck in the girl's pubic hair, so he had to outdo her. That's the only reason he offered that story.
But Lee will tell you anything, but you just got to ask.
If you ask,
right? You got to extract it. So that's Lee's daughter, his sister, and his wife right there. The 3 ladies of his life.
Wow.
Look at Lee's gun there. Look at that. I just did an arm workout.
So who's who? Which one? Who's who?
The guy in the green. The guy in the green top. That's my sister in the green t-shirt. She's very muscular.
You know his daughter is right opposite him.
The daughter's in the corner, right?
No, the daughter's opposite him.
Okay, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
See,
there's a picture.
Pay attention to you.
There's a picture. Go back to the page. There's a picture of my daughter and I at the gym.
Okay,
just taken before that. There we are. I can see it down underneath it.
That's his.
There we go.
You guys train together?
That day we did, yes, but I don't normally train with her because she doesn't listen to me.
If you notice, Lee is flexing the bad arm here, which means the bad arm is becoming better and not so bad anymore.
Oh.
His bad arm, Chris, is still like double the size of normal people's arms.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Does she compete? Does she want to compete?
She competes, yeah.
Yeah, she competes. She's actually got a pro card in the WFF, but she's competing July. She's doing the Paul Dillette Federation in Sydney in July.
Oh, cool. See, I didn't know that. I did not know any of that.
Oh, look at this. Is this Lee Priest versus Mike O'Hearn?
Mike asked me to do a podcast. There we are. Look at us.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah.
See, look at the time I got on my hands to do this type of stuff. Hey, that's
Hannibal
my new
Lecter.
mask.
Hannibal Lecter.
Jose sent me that mask, and it's actually a proper mask with the mesh inside. I'm going to wear that on the plane next time I travel.
You know what I'm going to
It's
wear?
a proper mask.
I'm going to wear my motorcycle helmet.
That's a proper mask.
Yep.
Why not?
Music playing, air conditioning on.
I've seen some pretty innovative masks that people were wearing, like with these. You ever see the ones with the shields? Like they got like it's like a 3-layer mask almost. You know
that in the NFL, some of the players have the tinted.
Yeah, the face shield. Yeah,
That's what I'm going to start doing. I want to wear. I got to go on a plane in June. I'm going to wear.
You're the guy who said don't wear masks. I thought.
What's that?
Just wear a welder's
You're the
helmet.
guy who said you don't wear masks. Though.
I have to get on an airplane. I mean, I'm going to have no choice at some point.
Wow.
So, I got to fly.
Chris, did you get your second vaccination yet?
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, okay. I think my wife's got to get her second one. You got your
I
second
get
one?
mine. No, I
How
get
about
it
you,
next
Dave?
month. Because I got the AstraZeneca. The AstraZeneca one, you take every 10. It was the first shot, then you got to wait 10 weeks.
No.
But the
10
AstraZeneca one here, that's the one that was given blood clots. And now they said people under 50 shouldn't get the AstraZeneca one.
They're saying, I read an article that people who actually had COVID, if you had COVID and then you get a COVID, one of the COVID shots, you don't even need the second one. The first one will be enough because you already have been boosted by actually having the virus. It's pretty interesting. They say that the immunity you get from that's why a lot of people who had COVID and then got the first shot, they get sick a little bit from that first shot, which usually you don't, because that's usually the introductory shot. But because you've already been exposed to it, it acts almost, this first shot acts as a second shot. So.
My doctor told me when I had the AstraZeneca and people were getting blood clots, he's like, well, Lee, the period you have to be careful is from day 4 to day 21. So between day 4 and day 21, any little pain I felt in my leg or arm, I thought I was getting the blood clot.
That's not worth it.
Because if you get past day 21, he says you'll be okay. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Just take aspirin.
Yeah. A lot of people say, so am I getting my shot? I'm getting radioactive iodine this Friday. So I'm supposed to get last
Really,
Friday.
Dave? Really, Dave? You haven't mentioned that. And do you have to stay in the hotel?
Yeah, I have to stay in a hotel for 2 days. The funny thing, because I'll be radioactive. The funny thing is that they have to give you these shots prior to the radioactive iodine. You got to take a shot of TSH, and it's called the synthetic TSH is called Thyrogen, which is like it's like $10,000 for these two stupid shots. So my doctor actually ordered, who's my friend, ordered it, and they had it sent to my house so I can do it myself. So I don't have to drive all the way over to Miami to have him do it or try to do it around here someplace. The stuff came, on dry ice. They sent it to me in the mail. I already got it. It looks like a kit. Remember the old Lilly kits of GH with the powder and the water?
Dave was having flashbacks when it turned up on ice.
I wish this was like something a little more glamorous than TSH. It's so nicely packed, and I'll do a video on when I have to take a shot on Wednesday and Thursday. Take a shot. Maybe I'll have Tyler film me doing it, but it literally you would think you take a GH the way this whole thing is packed up like this, and
I could just see it now. The package is coming to the door, dried ice, a container. Out the front of the gates is the DEA. Come on, guys, he's at it again. He's gone back. he's gone back to his old ways.
You know what I should do? I should take a couple Deca shots with the Thyrogen, and then like in 2 weeks, people say he got bigger from this stuff. He grew. He's growing. That'll be the next guru. Gurus will be saying Thyrogen. You got to take Thyrogen shots. That's how you get big. Palumbo has a secret. He's not sharing with anyone. Look, he put 2 inches on his arm.
I felt like I got a better pump the last couple of days after the vaccine, so I'm going to start telling people that because I felt like I actually did.
You'll have everybody do the vaccinating after that. If you
I was changing my DNA makeup, so now I'm becoming this monster. Look at the arm; it just proves it. Look what it did to my arm in that picture. Vaccine.
I don't know.
Look at Chris. Chris is making a comeback too. He said once Chris gets his second shot tomorrow, or whatever, we're going to see Chris up there in board shorts.
I did like a 5-month stint of not of jail time. I did do 5 months of that too, but 5 months of Accutane back in like the 90s because I was really breaking out bad. And my doctor gave me Accutane. I could swear that it was anabolic. I felt like I was growing while I was taking the stuff. And who knows? It is vitamin A is a steroidal like kind of precursor type of compound. If you look at it, it looks steroidal. I'm sure it didn't do anything, but I was telling people that, and all these guys that like were bodybuilders at the time, anyone who had a single pimple on their face, like, you think I should take Accutane? I'm like,
You must have told a few people, because I actually remember living in California. Bodybuilders would go to Mexico to get that.
yeah, it was because it was.
They would add it, right? They would add it to a stack of, right?
I'll tell you what, though, I did a stint of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I had terrible acne on my back. And I did it for like 10 weeks, cleared up the acne, and I never, ever got a single pimple ever again.
It works. It definitely works.
It can fuck up your joints.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it dries out your joints. It makes your lips a little chapped and your anal sphincter a little chapped. But other than that, after you come off it all comes back. But if you have a bad acne problem, it's a really, really good drug to use.
Godsend. Yep.
All right, I got to wrap this up.
Do you remember when Thyme Mucase was a big thing? The cream?
What?
Thyme Mucase.
Thyme Mucase. Everyone would get that cream. They said it burnt fat, and they'd rub it all over their bodies. And
Lee, they had an injectable.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
The hardcore guys
needles
knew about
for
the
this.
injectable.
Came in these big, long glass ampules. Remember? They were like that long.
If you ever used it, you'd remember it. The injectable. It's the most painful
Did it
thing.
burn?
Oh my God. It was like using regular gasoline.
Anyway.
The worst thing I ever tried that burnt was when I tried Essiclean in my arm once. I only ever did it once, and I thought, who the hell puts this shit in their muscles? Because it burnt like a bee sting all day. I couldn't even train.
What was it? What was it, Lee?
Essiclean.
That
Essiclean.
Essiclean.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like a bee sting.
Does anyone remember? And this is the last thing, and then we got to wrap it up. Does anyone know what the chemical name of Essiclean is? No cheating.
I know lidocaines in it.
Formabolin.
Formabolin.
Yeah.
Formabolin.
Form.
I can form a circle.
Yeah.
Do you remember did you ever inject anybody? Ever do a Ciclin?
I did it to myself.
It
only works on guys with big round muscle bellies. If you do it, I never did anything for me. I don't think it changed anything.
Like I said,
you got to do like 100 shots. I did this girl's back.
I did it. I did it once in my bicep, and it like got all inflamed and red. I couldn't even lift 10 pounds all day, and I'm like, what's the point of this? Like my arm felt like it had been torn or something. It was pathetic.
All right, I got to wrap this up, guys. Thank you for joining us live. As we say every week, remember, guys, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.
Can I go back?